ahead, man.
Thanks.
You want to get back?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the first one. Actually, the first storyteller tonight is. Had to do it. Facebook's been great for keeping track of what your family's had for dinner, great for stalkers, great for all those people you went to high school with who kind of peaked in high school, who now want to catch up and compare life choices. Have you had that phone call yet? I was recently contacted by a guy I knew in high school, who I'm going to call Rick because I don't want to meet his lawyers. And Rick was a certified genius. Rick was one of those guys. The last time I saw Rick, he was off to MIT or Caltech or one of those to study computer science. He was just one of those guys that knew computers were going to run the world long before any of us even believed we'd ever have one in our home. Rick is now a minister, and he preaches against the evils of, wait for it, computers and the pornography they bring into our home. Now, I was fascinated with Rick's journey from computer scientist to man of the cloth, but he wasn't very forthcoming in our conversation. He kept circling back to his mission to rid the world of computers. So I kind of had to piece his story together from talking with people who knew him when. So to tell you Rick's story, I have to take you back in time, back to a bygone era before we all carried computers around in our pockets, back to a simpler time when a young boy with no imagination would have to resort to the National Geographic or the Sears catalog for inspiration. Back to a time when if you had a computer in your home, you were called a hobbyist. And if your computer wanted to talk to another computer before we were all connected by Skynet, it had to make a phone call. And at 1200 baud, you could upload one full page of text in 2.5 minutes. Those computers you would dial up were called bulletin boards because anybody could just dial up and post anything they wanted to, just like sticking a tack in a bulletin board. You could post your recipes, your atomic bomb secrets, and of course, your pictures of naked ladies. Because like every single invention since the beginning of time, it has its primary use and its porn use. Think about it. We invented painting. We painted what we were hunting for dinner on the wall and naked ladies. Sculpture. We carved arrowheads and naked ladies. When the Sumerians invented writing, they wrote about what was in the harvest and a love manual, so how to do it better. The printing press. Everybody talks about Gutenberg's Bible. Nobody talks about Gutenberg's other book, which outsold the Bible 5-1, was the collected dirty love letters of a fictitious noblewoman. Photography. Dead relatives, naked ladies. Motion photography. Muybridge invented motion photography to settle a bet. Do all 4 horses' hooves leave the ground when it gallops? He went on to do further motion studies like women walking, women turning cartwheels, women reading books. And of course the women had to be naked because of science. Movies. First commercially exhibited motion picture was 1896. First known movie of a woman taking off her clothes, 1896. And then the computer. Now I told this story to some friends a while back, and one of the guys said, what about cars? There's no porn used for cars. And I was like, oh, how sad for you. He's like, there's no porn used for cars. And I'm like, dude, half the people my age were conceived in the back seat of a car. So I'll leave it up to your good judgment. Uploading a picture of a naked lady to one of these bulletin boards could take hours, depending on the size of the picture. It required persistence, and that's what Rick had, persistence. He would upload and download all night, go to school, get straight A's, blow the curve for everybody else, and go back and do it again another night. He did it all through college. At this point, a lot of people are, well, anybody who's never indulged in internet porn, both of you, are probably asking yourself the question, what does this have to do with me? Well, desire drives innovation. On these early bulletin boards, the only indication of what the file was the name of the file, which was alphanumeric. You had no idea what was on it. Rick's innovation was to tell all the bulletin boards to add a search function. So anytime you go to a website and click on the search bar, that was Rick's innovation. He coded the files with what was on it, blonde, brunette, redhead, big, small, whatever, so that you knew after your 2-hour download what you were going to get. Rick wanted a job that would allow him to continue his hobby, so he took a job with a big insurance company. Insurance companies were really big on computers because they used massive amounts of paper, and they wanted to put it all on computer, and they would save tens of thousands of jobs and millions of dollars. So Rick ended up running a massive computer system for a major insurance company, and he cut a deal so that he could work at night. So that on the premise that any adjustments he would make to the system wouldn't affect the daily operation. What it really did was give him unfettered access to a high-speed network, massive amounts of storage, and printers and scanners, which back then cost tens of thousands of dollars. In exchange, he kept the system running perfectly, never crashed, which back then was a big deal. It worked so well that the executives actually noticed. And this was a time when the guy who ran the computers was treated just about the same as the guy who ran the boiler. They decided they were going to give him an award. So they scheduled a surprise award ceremony for the middle of the day. And Rick decided rather than go home and come back, he would just do his night shift, stay on, come back, go to the ceremony. When he didn't show up for the ceremony, they sent a secretary down to his office in the computer room looking for him. She found him fast asleep, big box of porn on his desk, and his pants around his ankles. And that's how Rick became a minister. Thanks.